Rupert Lowe is keeping the options open after being ousted by Reform UK. I'm going to read into this exclusive from Sky News, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an exclusive from Sky News with the headline that Rupert Lowe is keeping his options open after being ousted by Reform UK. The Metropolitan Police has opened an investigation into the suspended Reform MP over claims that he's threatened the party chairman. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit that like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. I am still incredibly under the weather. I just want to stress that now for anybody watching. I don't know if I'm going to be doing more videos after this, but I'm recording this one just to see how things go for reference if anyone's curious. So obviously I've been keeping up to date in this, and I tell you what, guys, I'm having, I'm enjoying this. I've literally, I'm getting the popcorn out and just sitting back and watching the Twitter spousing taking place between Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage. It seems to have calmed down now, but Rupert Lowe, he's really not taking any of this too well. And it really did all start from Elon Musk kind of saying, you know what, Nigel, you're not really the man for Reform UK. You're not really the man to save Britain. I think Rupert Lowe is, despite the fact that Elon Musk has no idea who Rupert Lowe is. And yet, all of a sudden, that gave Rupert Lowe ego, more ego than he ever been. Now, most people most correspondents and people who talk about Rupert Lowe is a very nasty individual. He was not the most popular chairman of Southampton Football Club, my understanding, as well. I heard he was actually quite terrible chairman at the time as well, which says a lot about him. Now, is this hurting Reform UK? Is this damaging Reform UK's population? Is it damaging the figure? I do think that there are some voters out there. Now, I find it ironic that there are some people that I've seen when I've done a lot of community posts about certain comments and tweets that have been made by Rupert Lowe and by associations of Reform UK. Many of them have either called it fake news, or basically one person actually claimed that they had no idea who Rupert Lowe is, which is kind of a bit strange for me. Strange for me on that, considering that they consider themselves a Reform supporter. You would think you would know who the MPs were, for some extent, but apparently not everybody does. But hey ho, that's just everyone's general opinion, I guess. But now he's been ousted, so Reform now have 4 MPs. Are Reform going to recover from this? Now, here's the thing. Before we read into this, and this really does, context really does matter here. They will always have the right wing behind them. They will always have money behind them. They will, Nigel Farage, he's got the social media behind him. Excuse me, I apologise. People always get behind them, even if everything is fundamentally wrong with this party. And people still generally believe that Nigel Farage is their hero and saviour, and that they'll make everything better. Even there was one person who thinks the same thing about Donald Trump in one of my comments, which is just, I just, can you not see what's happening right now with the stock market and everything that's going on in the world right now? I mean, I do think Nigel Farage is a bit more competent than Donald Trump, but that's not to say that that Nigel Farage wouldn't do crazy, insane things as well. But I do hope that this spat and how this has come about does open eyes about how Reform UK do treat their MPs and anybody who looks to challenge Nigel Farage to his power. Because this company, and it isn't a political party, it is a company, very, very clear about that, he wants to hold that power. And he intends to hold that power no matter what. And the problem is that if Nigel Farage ever becomes unpopular, if ever becomes, if the general public lose faith in him, if he ever becomes no longer that figure that people trust and believe in, what does he do then? What does he do then? How do voters of Reform respond? Would people still back Reform UK if they no longer like Nigel Farage? because pretty much a lot of people voted for Reform UK simply based on Nigel Farage because of his influence. I think that's a very good question. Do I think Rupert Lowe is going to get anything back? No. He's going to try and fight everything that he tooth and nail that he can. And obviously this little investigation, we don't know. I don't know enough to say whether or not it's true or not. The timing of it is extremely suspicious. It does feel like that they've had this info on him and they've been waiting to use it. Allegedly, that's what I'm alleging. We don't know that for sure. It certainly does feel that way, doesn't it, you guys? I do apologise for my coughing. Let's see how I do, guys. Anyway, let's read a little bit into this. So, the ousted Reform UK Rupert Lowe has told Sky News that he is not ruled out joining the Conservative Party or a new political party, declaring that I'm keeping my options open. So Mr. Lowe answered a series of questions from Sky News after the latest twist in his feud with Nigel Farage, with a police investigation launched into claims that he threatened the party chairman Zia Yusuf. The Metropolitan Police announced that it had launched an investigation into an allegation of a series of verbal threats made by a 67-year-old man between December 2024 and February 2025. Responding to the police statement, Mr. Lowe said he had instructed lawyers who had made contact with the Met and made them aware of his willingness to cooperate in any necessary investigation. My lawyers have not yet received any contact from the police, he said. It is highly unusual for the police to disclose anything to the media at this stage of an investigation. So he's claiming that the police did not contact him when it became public. That's what he's stating. We don't know that for sure. But that's what he's stating. I remain unaware of the specific allegations, but in any event, I deny any wrongdoing. The allegations are entirely untrue, he says. So later, Sky News asked the Great Yarmouth MP if he thought there was a way back into Reform UK for him, or was this the end, and if he might join the Tories or a new political party. This has all happened over a few days, Mr. Lowe replied. And it's true. This has happened over 4 or 5 days. And I don't, just because of him being an MP, I find it very odd if he was to join the Conservatives, or even would the Conservatives take him on board. That's a very odd thing. I don't know if the Conservatives would even want to take him on board. I think that's a fair question. I've been focused on debunking these false and damaging allegations. Who knows what will happen? I'm keeping my options open. In an interview on Monday, Mr. Lowe said, I was a Tory years ago. I think the Tories have got a lot of work to do. I think there are some extremely good Tory MPs. I get on with a lot of them. For the Conservatives, the Shadow Home Secretary Chris Phelps said he hasn't applied, but obviously we're a broad and welcoming political party. Okay, Chris. He told Times Radio, people have been joining the Conservatives from across the political spectrum, and we'd always welcome new joiners. He says that, but whether the party will is another thing. I will say this though, he does have a lot of money, so money does change things as well. And in a move that is seen as a hint of a new splinter group, another ousted Reform UK politician, former Deputy Leader Ben Habib, told the Daily Telegraph that Mr. Lowe was a good friend and he was consistently in touch with him. Sky News has also asked Mr. Lowe who he blames for the party's treatment of him, including throwing him out of the party after he was criticised by Mr. Farage. Was Mr. Farage or Mr. Yusuf to blame? Honestly, all of them, he said. This was a team effort to blanken my name. If it wasn't for my presence on X, I would have been buried under false allegations. For that, I have to thank Elon Musk. He was asked by Mr. Farage, quoting Labour's Minister Mike Cain, claiming that after a heated Commons clash with Mr. Lowe in December, the anger displayed towards me clearly shows a man not in charge of his own fatalities. In a Sunday Telegraph article, Mr. Farage added, I never saw anything like it in the European Parliament in 2019, but when I was the leader of the Brexit Party and Mr. Lowe was an MEP colleague. In response, Mr. Lowe told Sky News, reform sources have been briefing that I have dementia. It's the single most appalling thing I've ever seen in politics. I will say this though, because this may seem embarrassing, quote, but we saw how he reacted to trying to bring form a bill to the House. I can't remember what bill it was, but he made such a kerfuffle about it because he had to name all the people who were on the side of his bill, and he couldn't name all the Reform MPs who were for the bill. And he just kept saying, and a couple of others or something. And then he joked that maybe Rachel Reeves will support the bill or something. And it was just like, dude, that's not how procedure works. Like, it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. Like, he didn't even know how to do simple procedure in the House of Commons. Anyone who has known someone who has suffered so hideously from dementia will understand how offensive it is. It shows the type of people who we are dealing with. And dementia is a very serious thing that we should not joke about, really. In the same article, Mr. Farage claimed that there had been too many similar outbursts from Mr. Lowe, often involving the use of inappropriate language to the despair of our chief whip, Leah Anderson. Mr. Lowe hit back, telling Sky News more baseless nonsense, spouting out to tarnish my reputation. Their malicious witch hunt has fallen apart. Last year, when Mr. Anderson, the Conservative Party deputy chairman, he apologised to Parliament's watchdog on bullying and harassment and found that he told the security guard to F off. Everyone opens the door to me. He was found to have twice sworn at a security officer and acted in a way that constituted bullying and also harassment in breach of Parliament's behaviour policy. Independent expert panel had concluded. Definitely, Lee Anderson is a vile thug one, and I might cover a little clip that's come out on him shortly, guys. But yeah, Rupert Lowe is not a saint. Okay, let's be very clear. He's not a saint in any way, guys. And I'm not just saying that in reference to his time as the chairman of Southampton Football Club, in case anyone got that reference. He has skeletons in his own closet that we don't know about. Now, no, he's not as big and as popular as Nigel Farage in any way, shape or form. But the endorsement of Elon Musk has given him a spotlight and has given him a bit of an ego. And obviously, he should have known what was going to happen once he went after Nigel Farage. Right, what did he think was going to happen? Did he honestly think that Nigel Farage and the rest of the Reform would stand by him after his comments he made in the Daily Mail? What did he think was going to happen? Nigel Farage has very powerful people around him. He will denounce everything and anything about you. You cannot seize his power. Like it was a silly thing for him to do. Whether you agree or disagree with Rupert Lowe on this, obviously we'll have to wait and see what this investigation comes to. But it's an extremely embarrassing time for Reform UK. It really, really is. You know, because Nigel Farage has been looking quite like a fool right now over all of this. Because if you actually watch and see how things have panned out, it's very much consisted of, you cannot attack me. If you have a go at me, if you say anything bad about me, I will destroy you, is what Nigel Farage says. If you are in Reform UK and you do any questions, any doubts or anything against Nigel Farage, you are gone. You are ousted, you are humiliated. They will do anything to turn and wipe you out. And that appears what to be the case here for Rupert Lowe. But what do you guys honestly think about this whole scenario? What do you guys make of Rupert Lowe's voice piece? Did you guys see his interview with the Daily Mail? What do you guys think of this whole situation? Do you think Nigel Farage is extremely sensitive to criticism from his own MPs? Let me know your thoughts and more on this story down in the comment section below. I do apologise for my voice, but if you found this video informative in any way to you, please hit that like button, share across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out the YouTube membership if you want to join and financially support me. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.